Always. And their guys are following them,
Oh
and
my
they're
goodness.
shooting. They're running and shooting backwards. And I'm sitting there. Well, you can't leave.
Right.
you gotta wait for them to get back. A couple of them get hit. They go get them, and they drag them back into the helicopter. You just sit there. Now the whole action started. The guns are coming in. The F4s are getting ready, and we're just sitting there. Get them all back in, and the crew chief, because I'm for it, I can't see it. The crew chief has to tell me everybody's back in. The head recon guy gives them a thumb up. He got the head count. They have everybody. Let's go. You know, so finally we lift up and out we go, and everybody's go. Now these guys are the grunts they're shooting, but they're shooting through the window of the helicopter. Just outside the window is a fuel tank, and they shoot the fuel tank. Not the bad guys.
Yeah.
Our fuel tank. So now we're leaking fuel and we're trying to get out of here. And I thought, oh, this is not going to be my day. We had 50 miles to go to get back to Da Nang. And I thought we're gonna run out of fuel before we get there because we're leaking fuel. The grunts have shot up our fuel tank, and we're not gonna make it, but we do. And those are my two most memorable events. Everything else just pales by comparison. But we didn't get killed. It was a good day.
Right. Any day that you get back is a good day.
We walked away from it, so what can you say?
Oh my goodness, thank you. Tell me about your unit and the men you served with or under.
Well, the units are helicopter squadrons. They're HMM. Well, you can see this thing here is HMM.
Yes.
Helicopter Marine HMMs. They're now VMMs because they have the V-22 Ospreys you've heard of.
Right.
Well, they're not HMMs anymore. They're all VMMs. I was in HMM 263, one of 4 CH-46 squadrons there at Mobile. The 46s were populated on once and flew H-34s and CH-46s and would get sent back. They said, I'm not doing that anymore. Really? They would go fly F-4s or A-4s or something else, not medium helicopters, because that's where the action is.
Right.
So that meant that the new guys like me were sent to those squadrons because we didn't have any choice.
Right.
The second tour guys had choices. Either if you don't let me go fly something else, I'm getting out.
Right.
So that meant that the medium squadrons were populated by lots of second lieutenants, a few captains and a few majors. So it was a lot of camaraderie because we're all buds.
Right.
You know, all new guys and nuggets just come out of Pensacola. So that was a good thing. And then we were working with people who were crew chiefs, lance corporals, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. We had gunners, 50 caliber machine gun gunners, who were grunts who had finished their 1-year tour, and if you can imagine it, extended for 6 months so they could be door gunners.
Wow.
That was it was a big deal to be a door gunner on a helicopter. They extended, if you can imagine, a 6-month tour just so they could be door gunners. So you're flying with maybe a captain who's 28 years old, a second lieutenant who's maybe 26 years old. You got a 20-year-old guy in the back who's a crew chief, and 2 18 to 19-year-old door gunners, and that's your crew. And you spend your life with these people.
So young.
And everybody's young.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't do that now. I'm 73 years old. I'd be scared to death.
Right.
But when you're young, you think you're bulletproof.
Yes.
And you don't, death is not an issue for you. It'd be an issue for me now.
Right.
Because I know,
Right.
I know what life's all about.
You're the life experience
That's
now, right?
But when you're young like that, it's great because you don't worry about that. I wasn't married, so it just wasn't a big deal. It would be a big deal now.
Yes.
But then it wasn't. So maybe that's the good thing about it.
Did you feel that your mission or sense of purpose was fulfilled? If so, why? If not,
well, people who go to war don't look at the geopolitical impact of what they're doing.
Yes.
They just concentrate on what it is that they have to do, not why they're doing it. Because if you spend time thinking about that, you desert or kill yourself or something.
Right.
So you don't worry about the geopolitics of what you're doing. You worry about completing the job that you have to do. Everybody's that way. There was very little, if any, discussion of politics.
Right.
There are no Republicans, Democrats, or none of that stuff.
Right.
Because everybody's getting shot at. The enemy doesn't have Republican bullets and Democrat bullets and stuff like that. they just trying to kill you.
Right.
You trying to kill them,
Uh-huh.
and you trying to survive. So that reduces the discussion to stuff like when we're going to go R&R.
Right. Yeah.
The
The stuff that really matters to the fuck, right?
All of that stuff is insignificant. So our job was to do our job the best way we could. Everybody concentrated on that, and all that other stuff was completely irrelevant.
Gotcha. Is there anything that you would have done differently in terms of the mission and its parameters?
No, because at that level,
Mhm.
you don't have any decisions to make.
Right.
You get assigned to do a thing, and you go do it.
Do it.
You're not a decision maker.
Mhm.
That's way above a second lieutenant's pay grade.
Right.
So you're just the worker bee. You do your job. They tell you where to go, and you go do it. And that's it. So there's nothing to do differently because you don't have any choice.
Mhm.
And that's it.
How did your participation in the war affect your life afterward?
Well, I think in some you develop an appreciation for life
Right.
when you spend your time dealing with death.
Right.
I grew up. My mother died when I was 7 years old, and I went to the funeral and became terrified of dead bodies.
Right.
And it really was a traumatic experience for me and my sister, who was 3 years old. Funerals and dead bodies and all that. I was traumatized for a long time, and for a long time I didn't go to another funeral after my mother's funeral.
Right.
Now, so here I am in Vietnam, and one of my jobs is to carry bodies. Dead bodies, live bodies, dead bodies, wounded bodies, mutilated bodies, and be surrounded by death and dying was I don't want to say a traumatic experience, but it was a kind of a cleansing experience for me
Right.
because it removed me from my childhood fears of death and dying, because I was dealing with it on a daily basis, and not bodies that had been prepared for funerals,
Right.
bodies that are in parts and bags,
Right.
and all that, mutilated bodies and all that sort of thing. So it changed my life in terms of how I perceived death, because I was afraid of it before, and I became kind of immune to
Right.
it. You just get used to dead people and dead bodies and dying people and all that sort of thing. And in fact, one of my jobs is when I was flying co-pilot, we had, I don't know if you know, but we have, the Marine Corps doesn't have doctors and dentists and stuff like
Right.
that. We have, the Navy provides that. We were doing medevacs, and the Navy would put a corpsman on the helicopter with us. A lot of folks don't know that. And they're out there. Some of the most decorated individuals you're going to find will be Navy corpsmen who were in
Right.
Vietnam. The corpsman's job was to give, well, first of all, the grunts have corpsmen,
Yes.
and they give the wounded person the immediate care, and then they put the corpsman on, they put that person on the helicopter, and then the helicopter corpsman gives them some additional care if they can. And then there's a triage that goes on. I don't know if you've heard this term, a triage. And so in the back, the corpsman is deciding who goes where. And I'm, as a co-pilot, I'm writing this thing down. And he says, okay, I got a head wound. I got a sucking chest wound. I've got a guy with a stomach, and I'm writing this down. And so I have to tell the people what kind of casualties I have, because if I have, for example, a head wound, we would have to take that person to the USS Repose where the neurosurgeons.
Okay.
So that would determine where this person goes. And then, of course, he said, I've got 3 what we call permanent routines. That's what we call dead people. 3 permanent routines. Well, they go to the morgue. They the last to
Okay.
drop off.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's just the way it
It
is.
is.
I mean, so I'm writing this list down. They might have 6 things I'm writing down, and he's stepping over these bodies. And he's looking at this guy, and he's got a sucking chest wound. So he's like, I got a sucking chest wound here. I got a head wound here. I got this, and I got 3 dead guys over here, permanent routines. They put them over on the side because you can't help them. So he gives me this on the radio, on the intercom, and I write it down, and then I call this into the medical people, and they say, okay, take your head wound to this place. Take your chest wound to this place. And then, of course, I knew where the morgue was.
Right.
That's the last stop on
Right.
the way. And that's the way it goes.
Yes.
You do this stuff day in and day, you just become immune to death and dying. I
Right.
mean, it becomes such an impersonal thing. But that's what war is.
That's what war is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.